Hi, it's the Rawsome Vegan Gal here, and today is part 2 from last week's video that I did on the products from Super Good For You Foods, and you see some of them over here. So last week I introduced you to the products. I did try some and mentioned to you all about the benefits of all these great superfoods. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of these products in some pretty easy to make recipes. Some take a little more time, but some are fairly easy. So the first thing I actually would like to do, because I mentioned last time that I do have this product called the Coconut Water Powder, and it's freeze-dried, and that's a 6-ounce package, but that you could actually reconstitute this to a liquid form. And they did mention, like I mentioned, the woman who I spoke to, Melanie, on the by email, or I should email, and I said I didn't speak to her, told me what to do. So I actually found out how much 100 milliliters of water is. It's 3.38 ounces. And actually this wonderful blender bottle, I want to thank the folks at Sprout Living. I actually did a video for them not too long ago. I used their blender bottle in my video for their products. So actually on this wonderful blender bottle, which is BPA free, it actually has the indication for 100 milliliters. So there you go. That's perfect. So what I want to do first is I want to reconstitute this to make coconut water and just see how that tastes. I'm actually going to use it in some other things that I'm going to make today. So first I'm going to do that. So what I need, what they say to do is to take 1 full teaspoon and sprinkle it into 1 milliliters of room temperature water and stir for 5 to 10 seconds. So I'm going to first put some water in here and move these away for later, so excuse me. So I'm going to put the water in here first, and I don't know if I even need this little blender ball thing, but I'm going to keep it in there anyway. So it says first to put 100 milliliters of water, which, like I said, the bottle does give me that indicator. I just got to find it on here. Let's see. Okay, so that's just a little touch above 100 milliliters. I could pour some out if we want to be exact, but I think that's fairly close. And then it takes 1 teaspoon. I don't have an actual exact teaspoon, but I'm going to guess that it's something like this size. So they say she says just to sprinkle it in. I'm going to open this up. And I like to smell things too, but this smells very nice, and it actually has a color. It's kind of a beige color. Some of it, and she said you can also use it as a sweetener. So I'm going to just take a teaspoon, or something that resembles a teaspoon, and put some in there. And it has a beigeish kind of color. I'm just trying to break some of it up. It kind of got a little hard inside here. And let's see if I can find a little container, a little cup I should say. So excuse me for just a moment. I wanted to show you what it looks like, the color, because I can't really show it in the container, just for you to see the color of it. I'll take some out of here and put it in the cup. Trying to get some out with my spoon. It's not being very nice here. Okay, now I got some out, because in the spoon I won't be able to show you. So if you can see there, it has kind of a beigey, kind of white beigey color, and this is clean, so I'm just going to pour that back in there. I just wanted you to get a look at that color. So now what I'm going to do, with the, even though the blender ball is in there, I'm going to cover it up, and I'm just going to stir it just for a few seconds. And it does have, like you can see, I don't know if you can see in the camera, it kind of looks a little beigey, so I'm going to taste that and see how it is. Yeah, very mild flavor. Sometimes coconut water is sweeter, but it does taste fine. Like I say, very mild. And you can add other things to it as well. But I just wanted to get an idea of how that actually tastes. So, so that's the coconut water powder. Probably I would add a little more of the powder if I wanted to be sweeter. She said add more or less depending on the flavor you desire. So I would probably add more than a teaspoon. Maybe I'd add a couple of teaspoons. So now the next thing I'm going to do is just to be making something that you can drink. This I call a cacao superfood smoothie. So what I'm going to be doing is using the powders, and there's quite an array here, and I'm actually going to be using some of the, what I could do is I could make a base. I could just add the coconut water powder into it as well. excuse me, to make a drink. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 powders. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And I don't usually measure my powders, but I'm going to start with the base of the coconut powder. And I have a bunch of spoons here. What I do is, since there's so many different products, ooh, just a little air coming out. So I have a whole bunch of different spoons here to use because I don't want to use the same spoon, put it into different packages. The other thing you could do is you could just pour some, kind of eyeball how much you want. Now there's a trick here I want to show you that I discovered. What happens with these Ziploc packages, or resealable, I shouldn't call them Ziploc, that's a trademark name. So with these resealable packages, they have two sides. One is one has a side where it seals into where it's like 2, and then the other that's 1. If you're going to pour, what you do is you pour on the side where there's just the 1 part as opposed to the 2 where that has a crevice. So, because what happens with that crevice is the powders tend to get stuck in there, and then the resealable part doesn't close. So if you're going to pour from there and don't want to use spoons, you could do it that way. I mean, I can try doing it that way. So what you do is you pour it on the side that has just the 1. I don't know if I can show you that in the camera. You see on this side there's just 1, and then on the other side, if I could show you, you can see how there's like 2 ridges here. So you want to pour on the other side that has 1. Because then what happened was there's nothing for it to get stuck to, so then it's easier to, then you won't have the problem with resealing it or having to clean it with a toothpick or a knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my stuff in this blender bottle to shake it up, as opposed to not needing a blender. And I'm going to use some of the spoons I have here. So I'm going to start with the base of, like I said, the cacao powder. So I'm going to use a heaping, I have 1 heaping spoonful, maybe I'll use 2. Of this, and I don't, like I said, I don't know if this is tablespoon, maybe it is. So we'll say 2 heaping tablespoons. And I'm going to leave the spoon in the package because I'm probably going to be using these items for making other things, so I don't want to have to get the next enough more packages. Then I'm going to go next with the Maca powder, meaning I'm going more in order of how much I'm going to use. So I'm going to use more of the Maca powder than some of the others. And it has a nice smell. I didn't smell the cacao. Like I said, I like smelling things, so let me get a smell on that. That smells nice. It smells like chocolate. So take a spoon for the maca, and I'm going to do probably 1 heaping tablespoon of that one. If you can see that here, we'll try that. And like I say, and you can always add more to them because it depends on your taste. Next, I'm going to take some of the coconut water powder and use it as a sweetener, as opposed to adding some kind of sweetener, which you could add. You know, people add coconut sugar, coconut nectar, you could add date sugar. So I'm going to get another spoon here. I'll use the spoon I used before for it. And I'm just going to take probably maybe a heaping teaspoon of that. Okay, and then let's see, next I'm going to go with the, I think I'm going to do next the Acerola cherry powder. And that has a reddish color. We'll see if I can, what I'll do actually is I'll pour some into that little cup again so you can actually see what it looks like, because this has a beautiful, an orange color. It's beautiful. So I have like a teaspoon in here. I may add more, but I just want you to see the color because you won't see that in the bottle. So probably like a teaspoon of that is nice. Okay, and then next I'm going to get to the Maqui berry powder. And that one is a purple. Now this one may stain your hands. It's really dark. I'm going to try, and it's kind of the powder is not as fine granular. It's kind of like a thicker, and they don't say you need to refrigerate this. So I'm going to take another spoon here so I can show you. I'm going to take one of these little spoons I have. And if I can get it in the camera without spilling it, that's what it looks like if you can see the purple color. Get a little closer. So it's got a purple color, so I'm going to pour some of that in there. So probably just like a half a teaspoon, or you can do a teaspoon. Next I'm going to take the Acai Powder and get that one open. And that one also has a dark, kind of a purplish color. And I'm going to grab one of these other little spoons here and try to show you that, get really close in the camera. See if you could see that. I don't know if you could see that in the camera. I'm trying to get it out of the bag without spilling it. You can see that. There we go. So probably a heaping, maybe half a teaspoon. Now normally with this blender bottle, it's better to put the water in first, but I didn't do that. So just so you know. And then I have lastly the Camu powder. And I'm going to get another little spoon. And this one has a strong smell. This is has high vitamin C, just like the Acerola cherry. The acai, it doesn't. And the Maqui, they taste kind of maybe more, not so sweet, maybe more tart. But this is the Camu. We're going to take another little spoon. And this one has more powdery. The other ones were more kind of flaky. But I'm going to come up to the camera again and see if I can show you that. That's the Camu. So again, and this is a stronger, so you might want to not use as much of the Camu in this drink. So now I'm going to add some water to this. Let's see, I'm going to put in, to start, about 8 ounces. And let the water come up over the liquid. So it might not be exactly 8 ounces. But we're going to try and see if we can get that. And then I'm going to close this up. Shake it up and see how it is. And then, like I say, once I try it, it has a beautiful color now. Actually, probably from the acai and the Maqui, because that's more purple, you could see that beautiful color. And also from the cacao. So now I'm going to taste it. And it did blend up pretty well, even though I put the water in afterwards, because this blender bottle works really well. Now I'm going to taste it and see if it's to my liking. It's a little on the strong side. I'm tasting some of the Camu. So for me personally, I would probably either add an additional sweetener or maybe add more maca, tends to be sweet. Or also some more coconut water powder. So that's for me personally how I would do it. But it tastes, I mean, it's just a little stronger, a little richer in the flavor. It's just it's a little different. So you may want to tone it down that way by using other ingredients that are actually sweeter. Next thing I'm going to show you is something very easy to do with just a few ingredients. So that would be the Goldenberries, the Goji Berries, and the Cacao Nibs. So what I would do is I would make just a trail mix. So we could mix it up in the bowl, and then I have some bags that I would put them in afterwards. So now the Goldenberries, which I tried last time, and on the Goji and the Cacao, tend to be a little more on the tart side. So you may want to use less of those. That's why I like to mix them with the Goji Berries. So you could just take a handful of the Goldenberries, so do a little less of those, and maybe 2 handfuls of the Goji Berries, or 1 big handful of the Goji Berries. And there tends to be there was a little skin on the Goji Berries here, but I think that's okay. And then I'm going to just take a handful of the Cacao Nibs. Now the Cacao Nibs by themselves don't have like a real kind of a flavor. I mean, it smells like chocolate, but you know, having the mixture, it's actually really nice. So I put the 3 together, and here they are in the bowl. I don't know if you could see the color here. Maybe from the bottom you could see that mixture. And you could add other things to it, but I'm just staying with the products that are here from this company. And then what I have here that's nice for storing, this is also from another company that I really love called BioBag. They're compostable, certified compostable. They're not made of plastic. And I have some videos of them on my YouTube channel too as well you can check out. And I did forget to say, and I meant to say, and so now I'm saying it, is that I will have a link below this video to this company's website as well as the others that I mentioned, so you can check out all that they offer. So these are great bags, and they're actually going to be adding some new sizes this year. I'm going to review them. So right now they have their resealable sandwich bag size. So this is this one. And then they also have their quart size, and they're going to be coming out with a smaller and a bigger. So this is the quart size. Now for this amount of product, I would probably use the smaller bag. So what's nice is you can put this in and not have to worry that you're putting your food into plastic. It's safe to put it in food. And these do actually break down over time. I've had mine just tear on the bottom. They just start to fall apart. So what you would do is you would just put them in one of those bags, and then you can take them with you as you can any other type of, you know, cut up stuff, or I put my fruit in there. But that would be the trail mix. So we can go ahead and try that as a mixture. So definitely the sweetness of the Goji Berries balances out the Cacao Nibs and the Goldenberries, but it's really nice. It gives you good energy. But also don't forget, since you're eating dried fruit, you don't want to rinse your mouth out after eating wet. It's really good. Okay, so next, let's see what I have on my list here. You can make like 2 different things. You can make, well, what I could do is 2 things. So I had on my list to make Superfood Truffle treats, where I would use the powders, mix them all together, not make them too wet, and then make them into like truffle balls. And then the same ingredients actually you can make into a pudding or a sauce where you water it down a little more. So for the first recipe, I want it to be thicker. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna use the same ingredient to make both of them. You know, not at the same time, but I'll do one first and then I'll add more water and then it can be into a pudding. So, and you may need to use other things like if you want it to be, if it don't have enough dryness and it gets too wet, you may have to add more ingredients. So for this, I'm going to start with the cacao powder. That's why I kept the spoons in here. And then I wanted to make it the pudding or sauce more crunchy, so I'm going to probably add some cacao nibs to it. So I'm going to take a couple of spoons. I have a bowl here to make them. A couple of spoons of the cacao powder. And then next I'm going to put in a little more maca than I did for the drink because I want it to be a little sweeter. If I can find my maca here. Here's my maca powder. Because maca tends to be naturally sweet. So I'm going to put 2 big spoons of that as well. Okay, and then I'm going to use probably all the other powders, but I'm going to use less of, and I'm going to use a little more of the coconut water powder. So I'll probably use 2 of these spoons. I don't know how much that means, or 3, just so that it's sweeter. And then I'm going to take next some acai. Take maybe a couple spoons of that. The small little spoon that I have here. A couple of maqui spoons. And then for the Camu and the Acerola cherry, I'll probably use a little less because they tend to be more bitter. So I'll just use a really little so it doesn't overpower it. And then the Acerola cherry, which I think tends to be a little bit sweeter. So I'm just going to take a spoon of that. Now what I'm going to do is mix some water in here with another spoon. And first I want it to stay thick so I could make the truffle treats. So I'm going to add water a little bit at a time. And then mix it slowly. And I'll show that to you. I'll pick the bowl up because it's glass so you can see. So here's a whole bunch of the ingredients. I don't know if you can see that. See that from the bottom maybe. And I'll start mixing that up. So now if I added too much water, I would have to add more ingredients. So better to opt on the side of less water so that you don't have to do that, because then you don't know what ingredients to use. So because you don't want them to be bitter. The idea is you want them to be sweet. They're supposed to be like little treats. So I think this does still need more water. It's seeming to be like more, it's still pretty dry, so I would have to be able to make them. So I'm adding more water. Now the cacao, I should say, powder does take over as far as color. So that's a given because that's the base of making these. So now it's starting to get thick. What I want it to be thick like pudding-like. So this is creamy like a pudding already, but maybe I added now a little too much water. So what I would opt for is I would not definitely add any more cacao to this. If I want to keep with the ingredients that are here that I'm using from this company, I would opt for adding a little more maca and a little more of the coconut water powder. But this is more like the pudding consistency that I was mentioning. For the treats, you need it to be a little more drier. See, it has that thickness like a sauce. You see that? Like a chocolate sauce. So what I'm going to do is just take some of it to make the truffle treats. Maybe I'll make a couple of them. So I'll keep like maybe half the bowl as the pudding and then put some on the other side so that I don't have to mix the whole thing in. So I'm going to add a little more coconut water powder, and that might also sweeten it up to just one side, hopefully. It won't mix with the other. And then I'm going to add again a little more of the maca. So just to get it a little thicker. And then what you can do afterwards also is you could sprinkle on something. If you like one of the other powders, you could sprinkle it on top of the treats. So let's see if I'm getting it still quite wet. Now the other option you could do, so I did make these in advance, is you could actually make them in advance and put them in the freezer, and then they'll harden up. So I think it still needs more. So the other option would be to add something else that's not part of this. What I would do is add coconut flour. So I'm going to try a little more maca. Another spoonful. So again, this is just trial and error, how to do it. And I thought I didn't have too much water, but then I realized as I was mixing it, it was definitely getting too wet. I needed a dryer. So coconut flour is a great option. This company doesn't do, I don't know if they do coconut flour. So I think I might be getting a little better. It seems to be a little bit drier. But I may have to opt for some coconut flour because I don't want to keep adding so much maca. So I am going to go to the fridge for just a second, so you'll excuse me as I'm out of the camera. And I actually have this coconut flour from another company whose products I reviewed on my channel. And this is from a company called Anthony's Goods. This is their organic coconut flour, and I will also have a link below. And I have it, the way I do it is I put it in a container that has, like a shaker container where it has holes, so it's easier to get to than this large bag. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this. So I apologize that I have to use a product from another company to make this, but I don't want to keep adding more of the maca. I think I don't want to have overkill. So the coconut flour may actually, I don't know that it will cause this to be a little lighter. If I added a lot of it, you know, if I added coconut flour as the base, maybe it'd be lighter. But this is helping to thicken it up a little more, so it's not so wet. So I could actually make it into truffle balls. So I can't tell you how much to use to add, but you have to do it kind of by feel. As you're putting it in, you can decide. As you're putting it in, you'll see as it's getting thicker, and I think it's getting thick enough for me to make the truffle treats. I have to just see if it needs just a little drop more. Just a little drop more, I think, will be good. Okay, then I'm just going to put this away. And the coconut flour does need to be kept refrigerated. If it's out for a few minutes, that's okay, but just as a rule. So I think this side of the bowl that I made for the treats consistency is good. So I'm actually going to go ahead, and they will have a little white tinge to them, I see. And what's good to do is, I'm not doing it here, but if you're going to put it in the freezer, you probably want to line your bowl or your plate with some parchment paper. That would be a good idea. Now in these truffle treats, you can, if you want, chop up some goji berries or goldenberries and put it in the mixture before you make them. That would be an idea too, but I didn't do that. So I'm just going to make a couple here with what I have, the consistency that I have here, just to show you what they look like. And then I'll taste it, and it's the same ingredients for the actual pudding or sauce. You know, chocolate sauce, you can call it. Superfood chocolate sauce. So here would be, I made just a couple of treats, and my hands are full of the ingredients, so I may have to put that on a spoon. I could lick it off, but I don't want to do that in the video. So I'm just going to probably just wash my hands and then go ahead and try them. So excuse me for just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead now and try those, or try one of them at least, to see how it tastes. It's actually really good. Again, I would probably add a little more sweetness to it. It is a little dry, I think, from the coconut flour, but I would probably add a little more sweetness to it. You know, maybe some coconut sugar. But it does have a nice taste. So that was on this side. Now on that side is the pudding. Now for the pudding, I'm going to use another spoon because I'm going to add some cacao nibs to that, because I wanted to make that into what I call a crunchy superfood pudding or sauce, just to give it a little different texture. So I'm going to mix that in with a different spoon. I don't want to use the other spoon because it's a different consistency. So I'm just mixing some of that into the other side that's a little more wet. So that's this side here. And you can see it's more thick like that, how it comes off the spoon thick. but it'll have a little crunch to it. And I'm going to taste that. Now that doesn't have as much maca or coconut water powder, and it doesn't have the coconut flour, so it might not be as sweet as the other one was, but I'm going to try that too. It's actually nice. Again, you might want to even leave out the Camu. And again, I think if you like it sweeter, you can probably use a little more sweetness to it. So you might want to use some alternative sugar, like I said, coconut date sugar, coconut nectar, or if you like stevia, some people call it stevia, it's actually stevia. So those are those options that you could use, but it does have a nice taste. Now, what you can use this as a spread. You can dip your fruit in it. That's a nice way, or just eat it like that as a pudding. It's really nice. So yeah, so there, like you see, there are some easy options you could do with using these products that don't take much time and effort, which is nice too. You can also sprinkle any of these on your fruit salads. Like they give you ideas like I mentioned last week, you know, to make your smoothies and your trail mixes on top of your, you know, oatmeals, or if you're baking. I don't have an oven, so I don't bake. Or if you're making some frozen dessert, anything like that. I mean, there's so many variables and variations you could use with these, but I just wanted to make some simple things that you could do easily in your own kitchen. So I hope you enjoyed checking all those out, and that you will check out these products. So that I use the Goji Berries, the Goldenberries, the Cacao Powder, the Cacao Nibs, the Camu Powder. We also had the Maqui Berry Powder, and the Maca Powder, and Acerola Cherry Powder, the Acai Powder, and finally the Coconut Water Powder. So definitely check out these products, and I hope you will do some fun things with them as well yourself. And I thank you for watching. It's the Rawesome Vegan Gal.